If you're holding XRP or you are a supporter of Ripple, something pretty interesting is going to happen today that I think you need to be made aware of. So, the CEO of Ripple himself, 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀𝗃, is going to speak in front of the Banking Committee today, or more officially, the US Senate Banking Committee, to basically talk crypto, to talk regulations, to talk about what the United States should do to better it for us all, right? To make the ecosystem better, and more specifically, how to literally make it so that the United States is the center of crypto. That's kind of what 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗃 set out to do. By the way, by the time you're watching this, there's only a few hours left until this is actually going to be live streamed. But time zone wise, I'm a bit in an awkward spot. I might not be awake for this one, so there might not be a live stream from my side. But if you want to go ahead and check it out, banking.senate.gov, you'll find it. And you can also download his official testimony, which is right here. And here's where things get quite interesting. I want to tackle two things in this video. One is quickly go over what 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗃𝗃 is going to be discussing with the world tomorrow, specifically about XRP. And then second of all, I read the comments every single day. And I will start with this one first. One of the most interesting comments I get almost every single time is, why is XRP better than a stablecoin? It's something that a lot of people do not seem to understand, do not seem to grasp, do not seem to get any idea of. Well, even though this testimony will explain partially some of the differences and partially why Ripple and XRP are doing something pretty cool, I want to quickly give you guys one very simple answer, just to quickly put it out there. Let me say it like this. What does a stablecoin really solve? If we're talking about USDT or USDC or even RLUSD in that sense, what does it really solve? Before I move on, I'll quickly state, if you also want to trade crypto, I've got some links down below. Here's, for example, a link to 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗃, and if you check it out, you'll see that right now you can actually get yourself upwards of $300 just for signing up and getting $2,000 into your account. It's a pretty nice bonus because it's like 15% instantly. So worst case, just trade this a couple of times and cash out your $300 for free. It's only one more day, so you know, why not? It's free money. Or go a bit crazy like me, as I've got my $700,000 XRP trade open right now on 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗃. I'm excited for this. But make sure you press that like button and let's just move on. Well, the nicest part being, it doesn't have to go through the legacy banking system. And right now, if you ever try to do something through a bank, you know it's freaking awful. All right, takes days, countless fees. It's just stupid, especially large quantities of money, and especially through countries that don't have proper direct relationships. It can just be awful because at the end of the day, the entire legacy banking system is partially based on messaging that's still old as crap and just inefficient, but also through mutual connections. You have to go from one bank in, for example, Zimbabwe to some other country in a freaking obscure place. You got to go through other countries or other leads. There has to be some way to get your money from A to B. And you have to understand, if we're talking with the stablecoin, like this is one thing that it fixes, to use on-chain tokens, right? I mean, ultimately, we're talking about a slightly better on-chain version of the USD, but it stays the USD. And the thing is, if we're talking right now, with the tariff situation, for example, and the BRICS situation, they're trying to lower their dependence on the US dollar. There might be tariffs that have gone so high that they refuse to settle things in the US dollar. They refuse to transact with the US dollar, etc., etc., etc. All of a sudden, now we're stuck. And again, you have to understand, a big part of the legacy banking system's problems, like I just said with these connecting banks, is that if you, through the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 system, if you want to get a certain currency out of your Zimbabwe, whatever, right? Well, again, the other bank has to either have the currency, or you're going to, again, base it on either a loan system or just, like I said, a messaging system where potentially the transaction goes through, but you never really actually settle it, or because you have got the trusted connection, it's like an IOU where you don't actually have to send anything, but 𝗷𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓 on-chain makes this so much easier. But again, to get rid of a very big middle ground here, they basically, almost everybody that's watching this right now, the guys over at Ripple, a lot of the people in the crypto space, see XRP as being kind of like in the middle of this all, in the middle of many of these transactions. And again, potentially some stable coins could do it on the XRP ledger, on Ethereum, on another chain, but again, it'd still be that US dollar. Now, once more, If you're asking me, and this is a very, very solid question, could some other currency not do it as well? My answer to you would be yes, they could. But here comes the unique part of how Ripple has set XRP up, of what role XRP plays in the ecosystem. There's almost nothing that Ethereum does best. There's many other chains out there that do things way better. Matter of fact, there's actually 99% of the companies out there that are at the top of the top don't do their thing the best, maybe except for like something like Google or something. Most of them are not that good. They're just most used because they were either good at the start or because it's grandfathered in. Everybody's using that, so it will keep going and stay the number one, right? If we're talking, for example, about dating matchmaking, if we're talking that, probably the most known, I'm not sure which one it is, but let's say Tinder, for example, maybe it's the most known, Bumble, whatever. It's probably not the best at what it does, it's just the most popular. But they probably turned for profit a while ago, and there's probably way better systems out there. If we're talking about app stores, there's probably an app store out there that can actually better recommend whatever game you want to play for you. But again, it's less popular because Apple's the one that took over. Again, arguably, and I think this is quite certain, there are way better phones, way better specs on a lot of different phones, but Apple still is number one. Now, they've got cool features, they've got cool this and that. But kind of that's the thing. Apple being the number one, being so interoperable, so good because they set themselves up that way, make their tech, even though it might be, theoretically speaking, inferior, just so much better than the whole competition. And there comes my point. With the way Ripple set themselves up for XRP, for themselves as a company, they're just really at the top of their game. So if a coin were to be able to do it, there's just a high likelihood that it'd be XRP or something built on XRP or through XRP. Could it eventually be replaced? Could it be something else? There's always an argument to be made for that. But that's the same for saying, well, the US dollar is not going to stay the world reserve currency forever. Well, yeah, eventually these things might get replaced. Eventually something better might come. But even though there's many things better right now that already exist, that doesn't mean they actually win or take over. Just like now with the banking system. We can all agree the banking system is dumb, but it's been around. We can all realize right now that Swift's got a lot of issues, but it's still right there in your face. So this is a very big oversimplification. The reason I'm stating it right now, though, is because I keep getting questions of why not stablecoin, why not stablecoin, why not stablecoin? Well, there's a lot of clear differences. But I think one of the main things you also got to understand is what was the purpose? What was it built for? What do people think it's going to do? Anyway, I do want to not step away too far from the 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏 testimony. I wanted to cover this today, and it was quite interesting. So obviously, hey guys, I'm 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗏. Ripple was founded over a decade ago with a mission to enable the Internet of Value. A world where money moves like information does today, we built a software product, or multiple, that power cross-border payments, stablecoins, and digital custody. Ripple helps financial institutions reduce friction, unlock efficiencies, and serve the customers better. These are not abstract concepts. We work every day with banks that rely on our technology to deliver real results in the global economy. Ripple leverages the XRPL, a decentralized, battle-tested open-source blockchain, and its native asset, XRP, to facilitate payments. XRP is built to enable fast, low-cost, and highly scalable transactions, and from the start, Ripple made that deliberate choice to work with policymakers to make sure everything was compliant, get all the licenses, etc. And they basically believe smart legislation should be based on several core principles. Consumers need protection from frauds and scams, markets need proper oversight, and bad actors need to be kept in check. And innovation must thrive. A constructive and workable framework for digital assets and stablecoins that achieves these goals will expand access to financial markets, create jobs, boost the economy, and put the US on a path to becoming the global blockchain and crypto leader. Then they basically said they themselves were hurt by basically an interesting SEC. Ripple was the tip of the spear of this regulation by enforcement campaign by the previous SEC and was subject to an enforcement action in 2020 where Ripple was the first leading US crypto company to be sued by them. And basically, besides these points, which I just for the most part already read, speaking on behalf of the entire crypto industry, I urge you to prioritize the passage of market structure legislation for digital assets through this committee and the full Senate to provide the rules and regulations needed to ensure that the US becomes the crypto capital of the world. And this will basically unlock efficiencies in financial transactions that we've never seen before. It will catalyze a new era of US competitiveness, dramatically helping consumers and businesses alike. Ripple hopes to see this become a new reality, and we look forward to working with you to help make this happen. And it's kind of funny. I was looking through 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗏's posts where he mentions, hey, I'm going to be speaking over here. And I realized there's a couple people hating on him a lot. So somebody says, hey, how much did you pay for the seat? And I noticed I was blocked by that person. If you press this, you realize, hey, I'm blocked. So that's one hater I'm blocked by. Then the first hater that I found, okay, actually there's one more, but here, XRP is a scam. I realize I'm also blocked. So to me, it's sometimes kind of funny that these people take the time out of the day to go comment these things, but then for some strange reason, they do block me. They don't want to see my posts no more. They don't want me to be allowed to comment under their stuff. So this is like, you scream at somebody like, ah, you stupid, and then all of a sudden you start hiding, right? To me, that's just sometimes kind of funny. Because now even if I wanted to dispute some of these things, I can't, because they choose the hidey-heedy way. Anyway, this is some of the stuff that's going on right now. From my personal perspective, I've been telling you guys for a little while here, I'm going a bit crazy on my XRP long. Right now it's about $710,000 worth of an XRP trade we've got open right here. I'm again committing hard because I feel as if the probability of us doing something pretty crazy right here is very, very high. Obviously, we are getting to a resistance point that we faced some scrutiny over the last couple of weeks. I mean, a few weeks ago, we also faced some juicy resistance over there, but I still think it's not going to be too much of a problem over a little bit of time, as I still think we are about to break out, are about to go crazy, and I'm ready to see it happen. If you also want to trade crypto, I've got some links down below. You can find them right here. Just check it out. And that's about it for this little crypto update.